It's been 5 minutes, and I already missed Joe Tooney. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Takle Talk Network. Today, in today's episode, we're going to be covering some NFL chaos. I mean, it's absolute chaos. Some more trade buzz and some rumors in free agency and some trade rumors. So let's get into it. First, we are starting with a little update. The franchise tag window ended yesterday, which we only saw 2 players in the entire NFL get franchise tagged. That is the first time since the 1994 season that has happened in the NFL. Normally, there's been a lot more than just two. Just two. However, those 2 players were Chiefs guard Trey Smith and Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins were both franchise tagged. Next, on to some combine results. Now, the highest showing prospects from the NFL combine were as follows. In the 40-yard dash, the fastest runner was Maxwell Harrison, cornerback out of Kentucky. Who had the best vertical and broad jump? It was both by the same player, a strong safety out of South Carolina, Nick Emmanwori. I think I said that right, but he was astounding. By the way, the 40-yard dash by Maxwell Harrison was a 4.28. That is an amazing run and astonishing accomplishment there by Maxwell Harrison. Then, Nick Emmanwori, the strong safety out of South Carolina, had an 11-foot 6-inch broad jump and had a 43-inch vertical. That is just outright insane to think about. Next, on bench press, you had Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati, an offensive guard. He did really good at the combine as well. And there's a lot more of different results. To find more results on the NFL draft, you just go to NFL.com and search the combine, and you'll pull it up. You'll be able to see all of your favorite players, like my personal favorite, DJ Giddens, in this NFL draft, and you'll be able to see how they did and how they performed at the combine. Now, however, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders did not do anything at the combine, but I personally think the best quarterback that showed out during the combine was indeed Jackson Dart and Will Howard. Will Howard threw a lot of good, decent footballs in the throwing drills. Jackson Dart ran the 40, ran like a 4.7. He's a decent quarterback prospect. I think he'll probably go to the Giants, or at least that's what a couple of people in ESPN think. I believe that Jackson Dart's a good player, but I think that Will Howard is definitely better than Jackson Dart. Up next, we have some trade rumors and trade details and other things that have been going on here in the NFL so far this upcoming new year. It's not even the beginning of the new year yet, or at least I don't think it is. However, up here I have a list of things because I am not going to memorize all of this. Forgive me if you think that's just against the laws. However, your 2 franchise tagged players I already mentioned were Trey Smith and T. Higgins. Fewest players signed since 1994, and that is a huge, I would say, accomplishment, but it's not really an accomplishment. Hugest thing, because there was a lot of teams that thought that they were going to get franchise tagged, and one team that did not use a franchise tag, which I was kind of surprised, well, at the same time, not so surprised, it was more of a 50-50 shot, was the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings chose not to re-sign their I thought, franchise quarterback Sam Darnold. They're either going to, 1, sign him to a multi-year deal and multi-million-dollar deal, making him a top 5 paid quarterback in the NFL, which, saying that now kind of doesn't make sense, because if you watched any of Sam Darnold when he was on the Jets or the Panthers, you thought that man was gone. He was washed. He was on his way out of the league, and he put up MVP caliber season last year. So, with that being said, Sam Darnold was not franchise tagged, so the 2 options, like I already started to mention, was 1, you can sign him to a multi-year deal, or 2, let him walk into free agency. And it's trending towards the direction of him walking to free agency. However, there has been some discussion in the fact that he might be in contract talks and getting re-signed. As for extensions or signings, which there aren't hardly any signings yet because free agency hasn't even started. It doesn't even start till when? March 12th. Or technically March 10th because of the legal tampering period. The real deal starts March 12th. So, re-signs. The Dallas Cowboys re-signed defensive tackle Osa. Not going to say his last name. Can't pronounce it. I'm sorry, man. But he got re-signed to a 4-year, $80 million deal. And if you're wondering how in the world did they afford that much money? Well, matter of fact, the Dallas Cowboys restructured Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb's contracts so that way they have up to $53 million in cap space this upcoming year, which is a huge thing. I don't know how big they restructured this contract, but apparently it's by a lot. Something else I noticed when I woke up this morning and I was at Walmart, Joe Thuney got traded to the Chicago Bears for a 2026, not 2025, 2026 fourth round pick selection in the NFL draft. I mean, this is just crazy in my opinion. I personally thought that Joe Thuney was in the safe. I thought if anybody had a chance of being traded on our offensive line, it was most definitely Trey Smith. However, Joe Thuney, he's like 31 or he's up in there in that age somewhere. And Trey Smith, obviously a lot younger than that. So them trading Joe Thuney and getting an extra 16 point something million dollars in cap space after that was, in my opinion, a great move for the future. But we're in win now mode, Kansas City. We are wanting to win right now. And something like that, I don't see it. But you know what? Maybe we're going to go out and get somebody because that puts the Chiefs up in the top 20s in cap space so far this year. And that's without a Patrick Mahomes restructure. Now, up next, some more signings. Max Crosby became the highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL, signing a 3-year extension with the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're going to be paying him $106.5 million, and $95.1 million of those dollars is fully guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Max Crosby, obviously one of the greatest edge rushers in the NFL, if not just the AFC, if you don't count Myles Garrett, because he might be going somewhere. I'll get to that in here in a little bit. But Max Crosby, stallion of a player. You want to lock him in and see if he can stay with the team for a long time, even throughout the next 3 years. Up next for re-signings, we have Saquon Barkley getting a 2-year extension for worth $41.2 million. Well deserved. Saquon Barkley, definitely one of, if not the best NFL back in the NFL currently at this moment. Next on the re-signatures, we had we are going to have eventually Trey Smith, as I mentioned earlier. He is currently in contract talks with the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll just see how that goes. Next on the agenda, what's next here? Help me out, guys. I mean, actually, you can't help me out because you're on the other side of the camera. But anyways, next we're going to go through some players that got released or they retired. And there's a couple shocking ones on here. I'll save the shockingest for last. So one player that got released today was Gardner Minshew, quarterback of the Raiders. I feel like that was kind of noted that it was going to happen. Gardner Minshew was obviously not the quarterback that Las Vegas needed nor wanted, and it was just kind of a given. Next, we have Tyler Lockett released from the Seattle Seahawks. This was kind of writing on the wall as well, seeing that he's an older receiver, and his production's starting to go down a little bit, and the Seahawks could definitely use the cap space. So moving on from Tyler Lockett makes perfect sense. Chiefs, please go get the man. He can be a good slot receiver. That's all I'm saying. He can be our Justin Watson. I don't think we're going to re-sign Justin Watson, but whatever. Also, Chiefs news, real quick. I do think we will eventually re-sign Hollywood Brown. If we don't, I feel like it's a huge loss. We didn't get to use him at all last season. He didn't build any rapport, and when he hits the free agent market this year, he's not even going to get a bag anywhere because he didn't do anything. He did as much as Mecole Hardman did. Mecole Hardman played pretty much the entire season. Now, that being said, another player that was released was Christian Kirk of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like this was also kind of on its way out, or Christian Kirk was on his way out, seeing that his production definitely dipped after the season beforehand. And this was also kind of a given. Another released player, which happened yesterday evening, was Davante Adams got released from the New York Jets. Another player who's a veteran wide receiver who the Chiefs could definitely use and bring in. And it could be interesting just to see how much he is valued here in free agency because I mean it's Davante Adams, but he is like 32, 33. So I mean we'll just see. It's kind of like DeAndre Hopkins at this point. DeAndre Hopkins is probably not coming back to Kansas City if I had to guess. He's not going to get re-signed. He's going to hit free agency and he will probably go to like the Carolina Panthers or maybe finds himself back on the Titans. But we'll see. Another player that retired was Mason Crosby, the kicker. Played 16 out of his 17 seasons in the NFL. Good Lord, that's a long time. With the Green Bay Packers. Now, Mason Crosby will go down as one of the best kickers in Green Bay history. However, there was another player that retired today that was a shock to the NFL. And no, it was not Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce made it clear he's coming back for another year. Oh, thank the Lord. That is wonderful news, especially if you're a Chiefs fan. However, this retired player was a defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals, none other than Sam Hubbard. Played a total of 7 seasons in the NFL and came to a shock to a lot of fans. A lot of people thought they'd have to re-sign him, Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, and a bunch of other players this year. Well, you don't have to worry about the stud edge rusher anymore. He is now officially retired and gone. So, that being said, we also have some other players that got traded, or at least players that want to be traded. DK Metcalf reportedly requested a trade today, per sources, and he would like to go to a team wanting to win, or a team that is in win now mode, kind of similar to the Myles Garrett situation. I do think both of these players will get traded this offseason. However, the fact of the matter is they're going to have to go to a team that might not have the cap space for them, and they're going to have to take a pay cut, or you go to a lesser team that can pay for or give you like Tyreek Hill-like money and be a subpar wildcard team and exit in the wildcard or the divisional round. Late last night, as I'm recording this on Wednesday, we had a trade where it sent Deebo Samuel to the Washington Commanders for a 4th. Okay, so actually, really quick, I was getting ready to export this video. I'm legit. I had to write down these really quick to just get them to you. So, Zach Bond, linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, just signed a 3-year, $51 million deal with $34 million fully guaranteed. That is a massive contract. He was an all-pro linebacker. He picked off Mahomes in the Super Bowl. No one really remembers that pick unless you're a diehard Zach Bond fan. Everyone only remembers the Cooper DeJean pick, which, by the way, Cooper DeJean was graded as the highest corner in the NFL. But that's aside the point. We don't need to get into any of that right now. We have too much to talk about. So, then, as I was also getting ready to export this video, linebacker Bradley Chubb, or edge rusher, for the Miami Dolphins, was going through a restructured contract with the Miami Dolphins. That's good news for the Dolphins. They're trying to free up some cap space, see what they can do, try and get some more pieces moving. Now, on to some NFL rumors. DK Metcalf is a big rumor target, or a big trade target right now, seeing that he requested a trade from the Seattle Seahawks. The number one trade target, or trade destination, I should say, is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs need a wide receiver. They need more wide receivers in this room. Is this deal going to happen? Most likely, or most definitely, no. If it does, I will be really surprised, even though the Chiefs do almost have $30 million in cap space right now. However, something I do see the Chiefs doing is signing Tyler Lockett out of free agency, or Davante Adams out of free agency, or re-signing like Hollywood Brown, some of these other older veteran receivers to kind of fill up this room. Because right now, as the Chiefs sit here, they only have 2 wide receivers on the roster, and only one of them that's probably going to play most of the season next year. That is Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice had some pretty dumb things going on last offseason, and because of that, he's probably going to be facing a suspension, depending on how his court case goes and all that stuff. I don't really know. I haven't paid attention to Rashee Rice, nor do I care. I just want that man on the field and playing. I think a lot of NFL fans would appreciate it if their players would just just play the stinking game and not do anything stupid off the field. For goodness sakes, everybody should be applying for that Walter Payton Man of the Year or be nominated for that Walter Payton Man of the Year award at the end of the season. There shouldn't be any arrests or anything like that going on. However, it's just the world we live in, and that's the reality of it. Some other trade rumors that we have is the New York Giants are reportedly trying, or I think it's reported. It's not reported by Ian Rappaport or anything, but reportedly are trying to get the number 1 pick from the Tennessee Titans. We'll see how that goes. Now, that's all I have for today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Takle Talk Network. You can leave a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you know when I post, because this week, obviously, I had to post on Wednesday and on Tuesday because some NFL news stuff kind of moved my schedule around, and I wanted to get the most to you guys as possible. Let me know if there's any improvements you have for me in the comment section, whether you're outside working and listening to my podcast or you're inside a home. I appreciate you for tuning in to the Takle Talk Network. And until next time, I'll see you next week.